I'm Nicol Morrison, and today's interview is with New South Wales farmer and long-time user of liquid systems, Lee Lonergan, who will be sharing his experiences and tips on liquid transfer and logistics. So let's get into it. How long have you been using liquids for?
About 15 years, I think.
Yep. And how did you approach the planning and handling of liquids on your farm?
So I approached my local distributor of UAN fertiliser, where the tanks could be hired or purchased through those guys. So they were my original bulk handling ideas. And then we had an old 1418 Mercedes-Benz truck that was a timber deck on it, which kind of appealed to me, having a timber deck, just because if we did have any drips or whatever, it could seep through and not rust out the floor. This is all not knowing much about the product. We're in the very early learning stages. We then invested in a 7,500 rapid players tank, a subframe tank, which means it all drains to the bottom. We plumbed that up with a banjo pump, poly pump, and it was as rough as you could possibly get it. And it was just basically in and out. That's how we did it. Did it work? Yes. Was it efficient? No. Was it something I would suggest people do again? Small operation, yes. Larger operation, no. So my advice would be on that, if you were a reasonable scale operation, you're investing in, liquid systems, then I would suggest that you make some investment into a step deck or a flat top, preferably a step deck situation. I do suggest poly tanks. They're more flexible. They handle our roads twisting and turning as much as, better than most. And keep everything as low to ground as possible, just simply for the ease of use of turning taps on and off and plumbing and all sorts of things. And away you go. You can make it up as you go. I do suggest people invest in a retractable hose reel or a wind-up hose reel for their main supply lines. We looked at going 3-inch quick fill just simply for the time factor of filling up. Time is money. I played around with it. I do have 3-inch pumps, but the lines are so heavy and they're awkward. And if you're filling up in cold weather, then I suggest stay the hell away from 3-inch. Just for the OH&S reasons. It's harder to wind up. It's harder to drag it. Like sometimes I have to drag 20 metres to my air cart or my tank. So 20 metres of 3-inch, if you work that back to what that weighs, it's a lot. I do suggest that people that are if they're suggesting, or if they are doing a truck or a mobile setup, as most of us would be, that they do invest in a 3-inch quick fill into that original tank. Just because, in us, we do a few acres, and when you bring a truck back, that's hours that you should be sleeping. So you just want to get it back as quick as possible, and 13 minutes, 14 minutes, you've got 10,000 litres pumped in there, and the night shift or the day shift guy is good to go. The way we've done it is you could just grow and grow and grow to it. So I suggest to anyone that is looking to invest into liquids and wanting to make it efficient, that they are going to have to throw a little bit at it. I'm not saying, but if they do it, then please do it with the forward thinking of that, in 5 years' time or 10 years' time, this is where we want to be, and, do it in stages, but do it so it can work for each year. You can have a bit of growth in it.
Expandable. Yeah.
Exactly.
So regarding, how do you actually get product to the farm? How is it delivered?
Okay, so if you buy it through major companies, they can deliver it to you and you can hire, or some of the companies will supply a bladder, a big bladder. They'll bring it out in road trains or singles, whatever suits your application, and they'll pump it into your facilities on farm. Some companies you can hire tanks, some you can't. But look, at the end of the day, a Class 3 tank, even a Clark tank or a Rapid tank or you name them, they'll make them suitable. I use all molasses grade tanks here. It just suits me better. It's a little bit more expensive, but Just basically trucks come out, night, day, whatever suits the supplier, and they carry their own pumping facilities, and they just pump it straight in, and you rock up and suck it out.
So how often do you order per season? Do you do it in like one-off or?
No, I just buy it as I need it. Like this year, we went through 150,000 litres of UAN.
Yes,
so obviously that was quite a few truckloads, and we have two 27,000 litre tanks on farm. So each tank tanker load they bring out is about 19,000 litres or 36,000 litres. Just depends on what the combinations are on the truck. So we always, when we're buying it in bulk, we always make sure we've got enough storage on farm for them to. Obviously, it's more efficient with a road train, so that's the way we try and handle it. Just on that, you've got to make sure that if you're going this way, that you have always got to have a tank up your sleeve. So when one tank drops down or two tanks drop down, that you don't run out of liquid. You've got to have another tank up your sleeve that you can say, right, I will bring a load out now. We've got two tanks empty. I'm on the last one. Come out, fill it up again. So, you don't get caught with your pants down. It usually happens on about a Friday at 3 o'clock, I always find. So.
Yeah, of course. How do you find ease of access of product? Is it difficult to source or not? No,
not for us, not where we live. And I don't really think any of your suppliers, like, your chemical agronomists, any of those landmarks, whatever, they'll be able to, put you in the right direction where to get it. It's available anywhere in the country. So.
Yep. And are there any lifespan issues as far as the product? Is it how long can you keep it on farm or? Yeah,
look, I have quite often kept it here 12 months. It doesn't like sunlight. It definitely, if you can keep it cooler and if it's in the right storage facilities, then I would say no issues. That's what I would say. But if it's in like 1,000-litre shuttles, then you will have troubles with that. So. Yep. The sunlight gets to it, it will crystallise a little bit, and it doesn't like that. So it's okay if you put it in the shed and keep the heat off the back wall sort of thing. But, I don't do a lot with shuttles. I do all bulk. So
regarding the transfer pump, size and capacity and type, what did you decide on?
Only ones I would ever buy are Banjo pumps, Banjo fittings. I've tried stainless steel. I've tried Aussie pumps. Aussie pumps are probably the next one in their poly range. Viton seals. Now, the Viton seals, I've always purchased ones with Viton seals in them. I know quite a few suppliers don't even use Viton seals, and they're significantly dearer. If you flush water through your system afterwards, it's probably not an issue. But, that's just the way that I've gone because I was advised to go that way, but definitely would recommend the Banjo pumps. They say they'll do 800 litres a minute. They won't do that. They'll probably do, thick UAN 500 litres a minute, probably pushing it, but that's about where it is. Colder the weather, slower it is.
Yeah, so it's depending on the viscosity at the time.
Exactly. And hot day, it'd probably do 600-700, So they'll probably do 600,
So while you're seeding, how do you coordinate the transporting of the liquids? Do you sort of have a workman that comes, you call them up or they come out?
Okay, so there's two options. Is if I had some spare labour floating around, then that would be the case. I have also worked it out in my regime that I'm filling up with grain about the same time as I'm filling up with liquids. So, this year I used a fair bit of starter pea. That went on a different rate. So I was filling up, all weird different times of the day and night. I tend to have a central point in my paddock that I run my cultivator back to because we also use a lot of water as well and we have water spots in the paddocks. That for our operation and how I've set it up is how it works best for us. If I did have, if labour wasn't so expensive, I would definitely have the truck come down the paddock to me and pump it in. Whether you would save any time with that or not, I would say you'd probably pick up 10 to 15 minutes each load, maybe. But generally, I can fill up within about 12 minutes, so 12 to 13 minutes. So that's 5,000 litres. So, I'm in and out of the paddock. I pulled out of the paddock, I'm back, I'm hooked up, and I'm coming back into the paddock within about half an hour each time I fill up. So I employ one person during plant period, and I always look for a third, but it's pretty hard to find. So two people can do it. It is, how do I put it? It's challenging, but, you've got to remember it's only a month a year. So just on that, I had a friend this year who was using starter P in a granular form and was also putting out urea. Now, I was liquid fertilising, starter peeing and inoculating. Well, I didn't inoculate my chickpeas with starter P, but I was doing all that within, say, probably 45 minutes, and I was back in the paddock where my friend was like almost an hour and a half because he had to have 2 trucks, move augers around, backing up twice, all sorts of stuff. Now, that's just his network. I'm sure there's better ones out there. And he had, 3 staff members where I had 1. So when you start looking at it like that, the liquids do have a place, plus the efficiency of liquids. So handling-wise, which is what you're asking about, it's without doubt it is easier. For sure. So I also have a retractable hose reel as well, which I'll send you photographs of. I'd say that's almost a must, and I would tell people to stay the hell away from lay flat.
Okay, why is that?
Well, the upside is it's lighter and it's easier to move around.
Yes.
The downside of it, even if you buy the really good quality lay flat, is it will kink.
Yep.
Your name of the game is to get it in and get it out as fast as possible. A kink or a bow in the hose or whatever slows that flow down tremendously.
Yeah.
Where you can use a really good quality of rubber-based hose or any of those, even the PVC ones I'm not a fan of, but whatever hose you want, and you wind it out and you wind it in. If you're having to pick it up and curl it on a truck like I did for years, you'll almost go back to Grandos tomorrow. It's just a prick of a thing. So I certainly suggest that, especially with low H&S today, that they make the investment of some sort of type of hose reel that they can wind it up or hydraulically wind it up or electrically wind it up. That way you don't hesitate to use it.
Are you doing any seed treatments?
Yes.
What are you applying?
This product is a New Farm product, Intake High-Low Gold.
Why are you using that?
I find that covers the seed particularly well. It also goes into the soil as well. I think it's giving the seedling the best protection it can possibly get. I don't think there's a better way of doing it. And I have no waste product. Like, I don't have any seed left over in my truck that's been treated and then I can't sell it to the open market. The only seed that goes in my air cart, if I have any seed left over in my air cart at the end of the season, I can resell it to the marketplace because it hasn't been treated.
Okay, so you're treating it as in-furrow.
Exactly.
Yeah,
absolutely. So, and it works really well. The particular product I use works really well with UAN fertilizer, which is my baseline. So, and that's going through the spiker pump. I just can't rave about it enough. It's great. And I only fill that tank up once every day. So it's one 500-litre tank a day. It's fantastic. Mm.
Are you doing any split applications?
At this stage, no. In the future, yes.
Why?
I just think that the industry has got to a point where the products need to be in a raw product, or when I say raw, as in mixed with water only. I find it's one of the things that was pretty hard for me to learn when I started out was mixing, trying to put too many things in a tank at one time and trying to make it all work and not bind up and crystallise and have reactions. So I have decided or made a rule quite a few years ago that I'll only put in straight products in tanks. Yes. So therefore the split tubing idea or split application is without doubt the way to go. You can also have deeper band and shallower bands. There's endless possibilities. Yeah.
Yep. All right. You're not doing any surface applications at the moment?
No, at this stage, no. And quite frankly, I don't know if I will. So I don't know if that's for me. I am doing a foliar spray, but that's completely different. So.
Yeah. I don't think you need to use soil wetters through your region, do you?
Not at this stage, no. I think what's going to happen, Nicol, in the future is there's nothing off the table. And I think we're learning as farmers, and the agricultural industry and the agronomy side of things are working out that soil health is becoming the key ingredients to successful farming.
Yes. So
I think that, if we can retain our moisture better by putting a product in, or we can attract moisture to our seed, which I know there's products, currently under, trials and whatever. To do that, look, it's just going to be an endless revolving door with this industry. It's just going to keep improving, and I believe that having a liquid systems unit is going to allow us to grow with the future, basically. So,
have you ever done any liquid lime products at all?
No, I haven't. No.
Yeah, they're tricky.
No. Zinc is the other one we use a lot of.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, use a lot of zinc. Yeah, have no issues with it. It's very good. Yep. I do buy a very good quality zinc though. I don't buy what a lot of shit stuff's on the market. I don't use it.
But you're applying that as a separate. So how many tanks have you got on the machine?
3.
Yep. So you've got your UAN, your trace element tank, and then you're spiking in with the
another tank. Yep. That's right. Cool. That's correct. Yep.
And everything's going down to the one outlet. No, 2.
No. At this stage, it is. Yeah. Which that needs to change. So look, at the end of the day, it's just money related. If it wasn't for money, it would be done. Now,
out of 10, how do you rate liquid application?
Look, I would have to say, it'd be up for any 8s, 9s. Yeah.
Great, Lee. Thanks for your time today. There's a lot of valuable information there.
Thank you, Nicol.
We hope you have found this interview informative and useful. For more information about In-furrow application, please go to liquidsystems.com.au or follow us on social media.